So picture this. You're going to build a brand new island right in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, it sounds like something straight out of a movie, right? But believe it or not, a really fascinating German patent lays out a plan to do exactly that. And it uses a concept that could totally change the game for our coastlines.
But seriously, how would you even do that? It's got to be one of the biggest engineering challenges you can possibly imagine. You're not just building something on the water, you are literally pushing the entire ocean back to create new land. So where on earth do you even start?
Well, if we look at how we do it now, traditional land reclamation is a huge headache. It's incredibly difficult, it's wildly expensive, and it takes forever. You're talking about dredging millions of tons of sand, building these colossal seawalls. It's a massive undertaking, and that's always been a huge hurdle.
Okay, but what if there was a totally different way? A way that was simpler, maybe faster, and way more cost-effective? Well, this German patent proposes a truly out-of-the-box solution, and it all starts with a shape that's super familiar to all of us.
Get this. The answer is a giant, air-filled wheel. I know, it sounds almost too simple to be real, but the engineering and the math behind it are just absolutely brilliant. It's a completely fresh take on how to hold back the sea. So let's get into the specifics. The official name in the patent is a wheel-shaped land reclamation facility. You know, at its core, it's just this massive, hollow wheel structure that you sink to the bottom of the ocean. Once it's sealed up tight, you just pump all the water out from the middle, and boom, you've got a brand new, perfectly dry piece of land.
And the scale of this thing? It's just mind-blowing. For example, they talk about a wheel with a 5-kilometer radius. So just try to imagine a giant bicycle tire lying flat on the ocean floor. The bottom edge is pointed down, designed to dig right into the seabed with these aluminum wings, creating the main seal. Then, for good measure, it's pinned down by at least 5 huge anchors, they call them arrows, and then they add a second seal around the outside just to be extra sure it's watertight. Okay, so how do you actually take this giant wheel and turn it into an island? Well, the process itself is actually pretty logical. It really breaks down into 5 main steps. All right, step 1, you carefully position the wheel on the seabed. Step 2, you secure it, driving that pointy bottom and the anchors down to get your first seal. Step 3, you add that extra metal wing for a backup seal. And then step 4 is the magic moment. You pump all, and I mean all, the water out from the inside. And finally, step 5, you've got all this incredible pressure from the ocean pushing in, so you stabilize it by piling up earth against the inside wall. And just like that, you have dry land. Now this all sounds pretty incredible, but you're probably asking, why a wheel? What makes this design so much better than anything else? Well, the real genius here isn't just the structure. It's the simple, beautiful math that makes it all work. And this is where it gets really, really clever. It's not just about the shape, it's about the geometry. The relationship between how much material you need to build the wall and how much land you actually get in return, well, that's what makes this a potential game changer. Okay, stick with me here, because this is the key. The cost of building this thing is mostly the wall, the circumference of the circle. And that grows linearly. So if you double the radius, you double the cost of the wall. Simple enough. But, and this is the huge part, the amount of land you get inside, the area, grows quadratically. That means when you double the radius, you don't just get double the land. You get 4 times the land. It's an exponential return on investment. The bigger you go, the cheaper each square meter of new land becomes. It's this economic principle that could suddenly make building a whole new city out at sea actually affordable.
And it's not just about the economics. That wheel shape, it's naturally super strong, kind of like a car tire is designed to hold air pressure. This structure is engineered to handle about 10 bars of pressure. That's like 100 tons of force on every square meter. This incredible strength means you could potentially use this method in water up to 100 meters deep.
So let's just recap the 3 big wins here. First, it is ridiculously cost-effective the bigger you build it, thanks to that quadratic growth. Second, the wheel shape is just naturally tough and built to resist the crushing pressure of the deep ocean. And third, the installation is actually simpler and faster because it doesn't need as many anchors as other designs. So, okay, the engineering is amazing, but let's step back and think about the big picture. What could we actually do with this kind of technology? This is where things start to feel really futuristic. One incredible vision is for creating entire new cities from scratch. Now, just to be clear, like it says on the screen, this part isn't in the original patent, but it shows you the potential. You could leave the entire ground level, that brand new land on the seabed, as a massive citywide park, full of green spaces, gardens, you name it. And then you'd build the actual city, the buildings and skyscrapers, on a platform above it. Can you imagine that? A city where the ground floor isn't a parking garage, but a literal forest.
It's a pretty wild idea for sure. But when you think about it, with land getting more and more scarce and sea levels on the rise, we're going to need some wild new solutions. So it really makes you wonder, right? Could this giant wheel in the sea be the blueprint for how we build our cities in the future? It's an awesome idea to think about. Thanks for exploring it with me.